Welcome in, folks, to the Kyle Kirk Show. Tift County Blue Devil Baseball is what we're talking about. I'm Kyle Dean, along with the head coach of the Blue Devils, Kyle Kirk. Good to have you here, Kyle. Thanks for joining us.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Let's kind of recap the season. You guys got off to a fast start. A lot of people are talking about Tift County baseball, and that's a good thing to see.
Oh yeah, definitely. We started off the season scrimmaging Perry. And the kids were excited. We did a lot of work in the off season, and it paid off as we jumped on them really quick. Got a lot of guys some work, got everybody in that game, got all my pitchers some work. So it was a good start for us. It was exciting, good home crowd, a lot of excitement. And then we opened the season with Kirk County, who brought in Robert Tyler, who everybody knows about Robert, how good he is. And, we battled and clawed. We got behind early. We didn't help ourselves with walks and a couple of left runners on base, but we kept scratching and clawing and finally got Robert out of there and was able to scratch out a win early. So it was very good.
Good to hear. Yeah. Who set that schedule up, by the way?
That would be me.
Yeah, I was wondering. Leading off with a guy that's committed to Georgia, mid-90s, legit. He's a real deal.
Yeah, and that's what Coach Williams gets on me all the time about our non-region schedule. Talking about, he's like, you don't do this in your favor seed, but I was like, that's what we want. That's probably why a lot of people look at my career record and see it's kind of skewed because, we'll play anybody. I mean, that's a good measuring stick and see where we are as a team. So
yeah, and then you had some rainouts, Coach.
Yes.
Mother Nature didn't play in your favor. You had a few rainouts. You were scheduled to go up to the Oconee County area and play some games up there.
Yeah, and that didn't work out for us. We still had a good weekend. Got the boys away. Got to give them a good steak and got some practice in the indoor facility at Jefferson and took them to UGA game. But we lost those games off schedule, but we're going to make them up on April 22nd at Georgia College and State University versus Winder Barrow.
And it'll probably be 100 degrees at that time.
It probably will be. And Winder Barrow, once again, has got a draft guy, Travis DeMeritt. He's very good. He should go high. And he's got some arms. He's got a couple of Kennesaw State commits. So it'll be another good challenge for us. It'll be a good showcase for our kids to play in front of those coaches in Milledgeville and see what we got.
The turn of the month came, and you guys go from February to March, and you finally do get to play again. You go up to Jones County, Gray, get to play North Oconee in a tournament up there.
Oh, yeah. Coach Sapp and I, we have a long tradition of playing each other and a good rivalry throughout the years, and it was good to be able to play him and finally get off the schneid and beat him. It was cold that day. It was about 32, and with the wind blowing on top of that hill at Jones, so we're very satisfied with a 9-2 win. And then Coach Ville always does a great job at Jones year in and year out, and we was able to finish off a sweep with a 13-5 win.
A couple of real big battles with Lee County. You go over there and you sneak one out of Leesburg, which a lot of teams don't get to do against the Rob Williams team.
And that was just a blessing there. We didn't swing the bat real well. Joseph Watson pitched his tail off that night, and he kept us in it. We got behind late, got down to our last strike, got a runner on base, and then we were able to just build off that and some momentum and scored 5 runs and got away with a victory. And then we turned around here and had another opportunity. Joseph Watson pitched well again, complete game effort, holds them to 3 runs, which could have been less if we take care of the baseball a little bit better. And we just one of those things with a young team, getting your offense up and down, which we're slowly figuring out. But, we learned a lot from that game.
Coach, we have a real young team, but we do have some key pieces that are experienced.
Yes.
When you came into Tifton, obviously you took it over for Chuck Bill, who retired last year. Second-round team the last 2 years. What did you know about Tifton and the community and the baseball that was played here?
Well, my wife's from Tifton, so I followed Tift County baseball a few years from afar, and when my cousin Hunter McAllister played and some other kids that I kept track of throughout the year. So Tift County's always had a good tradition, so when the opportunity came and Coach Smith called me, I was very interested in it. And came down. It was good just to get the kids back to their grandparents and South Georgia. So it was, it's just one of the things that we decided as a family, if it was offered by Coach Smith and Mr. Atwater, that it was really not our position to say no because it was all God working. He had planned it all out, and and we just knew it was an opportunity to come back. And the community of Tifton is great. It's a community that will take care of you if you take care of it. And I've felt very welcome here, and it's been wonderful.
Now, your wife Jessica's here, and
Yes.
You have how many children?
We have 2. We have 3 children. We have Maddie Grace, who's 9, William Zachary, who we lost 5 years ago to he was premature, and then we have Samuel, who is 2.
Awesome. And then now, talk about this ball club. I guess at the top, you really start with Alex Abbott. He
Yes.
gets most of the pub. He's committed to Florida. Talk about Alex and his game and what he can do for you.
Alex is one of those, he's got all the tools. He's putting it all together and figuring out. Last year he had some scuffles, but this year we've changed our approach a little bit, especially on off-speed pitches, because that's what he's going to see. Guys aren't going to lay it up there for him to change the game with one swing. He defensively can go get many balls. He made a play against Lowndes the other night in deep left center. That was one of the better catches I've seen a high school kid make on a ball that's really squared up. He's got a great arm. He can help us on the mound a little bit, which he did against Chris. And he's just one of those special kids that doesn't come along too often that you just enjoy coaching. And he's still got some improvement. He knows that, and he's probably harder on himself than anybody else can be. So we're just a work in progress, and he's just a junior, so that makes it exciting.
That's the best part. He's only a junior. The kid can play. He hit over 400 last year. He hit 400 as a freshman. Gives you that power. You decide, last year, Coach, he was in the 4-hole most of the time. You decided to move him up to the 1.
Yes.
Give us the reason behind that.
It's just an approach that we talked about as a staff. I'd seen Casey Till at Heritage did it with Tyler Austin, who's one of his draft guys, and Jeff Seegers at Loganville has done it in the past with McCullers and his draft guy, Frazier. And to us, we approached Alex about it, just to take that pressure off him, having to be in the 4-hole and produce, but put him at leadoff where he gets more at bats when the lineup turns over, and just where he can just thrive and relax and, just get on base and, make some changes there. Because, a lot of people think in high school when the bottom of the lineup, you get there, you can let up, but if you got Alex Abbott standing on deck, you got to make a pitch to this guy, and then that helps out my 8-9 guy. So it's something that he's really embraced, and it's kind of changed our offense a little bit the last 2 weeks as our run production is went up.
Another guy that's getting a lot of pub and has been playing since his freshman year is Zach Bullard.
Yes.
He followed in his brother Tate's steps. Tate's at Mercer University now. Zach's a really good ball player.
He is, and he has tremendous work ethic and attitude. That's what makes him special. He's developing into a leader for us, and I've talked to him a lot about that, and he comes from a great family. And they're very supportive. And with Zach, he is one of those that the sky's the limit with him also. He's changed his approach to the play this year, and a lot of these guys have really made strides there. He's gotten in the weight room. He's gotten stronger. And he's one of those guys, he's probably not going to pitch at the next level, but he gives you all he's got on the mound. He's one of the better ones in the region, and he's just a joy to coach.
Just a vacuum over at third base, too.
Yes.
Where do you see middle infield? Do you see him at the corner at the college
He
level?
could go either way. He could go middle infield, corner, probably second, short, or third. And I've had some coaches at the next level ask him if he's ever caught before because of his brother. They like his hands and his build and the way. And so, they could move him there.
And guess what? He's just a junior.
Just a junior also.
Get him back next year as well. Coach, let's take a break right here. We'll come back. We'll talk about your region schedule, what we've got coming up next. Big matchups all season long. A little change in the schedule as well, the way that the Region 1-6A is approaching their schedule. We'll come back and talk with Coach Kirk on the Kyle Kirk Show after this. Back here on the Kyle Kirk Show, Kyle Dean here alongside the head coach of the Blue Devils, Kyle Kirk. And Coach, the region schedule got started in earnest against Lowndes, a big matchup. Again, what were you thinking scheduling Lowndes and Colquitt and Camden, who has a really good pitcher as well, back to back to back? You had Camden first, I guess.
Yeah, well, that one was laid out for me before I even got here. That was the region schedule was made. The coaches met last spring and decided what direction we want to take that in. But it did us no favors when you got Camden, Lowndes, and Colquitt right out of the gate. I mean, you find out a lot about your ball club. So, it wasn't the ideal situation, but it is what it is, and I'm pleased where we're at.
Yeah, you dropped the first game to Camden and come back and win game 2. That was back on March the 8th. Talk about that first game. You lose 2-0, but come back for a 6-4 win in the night.
And that was big for us to bounce back in game 2. Game 1, I can kind of chalk up to maybe a little overexcitement. The new schedule, starting at 4:30, getting out of class early for batting practice. Those jitters, getting it out. Their pitcher did a great job against us as well, and Devonair pitched well. Also, we just had an untimely error late that gave them their 2 runs, and then we just couldn't ever cash in. So we would get runners on, but it was always with 2 outs or a runner at first with 1 out, and we couldn't manufacture our offense and get it going. But we bounced back in game 2, which was a pleasant surprise. We got behind early again, but that's the characteristic of this team. They just keep fighting and coming back. So it was quality. You don't want to split at home. You always want to defend your house. And so Camden kind of got what they wanted. So everything after game 1 was a bonus. But it was a good battle between two good teams early.
If Camden got what they wanted, the Lounge sure got what they wanted,
Yes.
and sweeping a pair of one-run games. I was there for that one, both of them.
Yes.
Give kudos to the Blue Devils. They come all the way back, down 9 runs in about the 4th inning or so.
Yes.
Two really good teams going at it.
We were down 15-4 and going into the 5th, and I just challenge the guys, I mean, you could do what most high school teams do in this situation, just roll over and get ready for game 2, or you can just take these last 9 outs and see how many runs you can score. Well, we put up an 8 spot, and that got them really excited. I mean, that's the MO of this team is, like I said earlier, it's hard to finish this off. 1 through 9, we can swing it. We got some guys on the bench that are ready to come in and contribute, and it's just the heart of this team. You're going to have to earn everything you get. So they fought back. They made it tough on Lowndes over there. It was a 3.5-hour ball game. Yeah. 29 runs scored. So I was emotionally and physically drained after that game 1, but then we had to turn around and play game 2, which we had the lead in. Didn't take care of the baseball late, which cost us and gave the lead back. But Lowndes did a great job all night. Leadoff guy each inning. It seems like they was on. They were always on, and then they just swung the bat well. They're a good team, and they're 6-0 in region for a reason.
Their catcher Josh Day had a fabulous series. I believe he went 6 for 7 in there. Had a home run, a couple of doubles.
Oh yeah,
he could swing it. He was named Player of the Week for his effort.
Yeah. He was, and he is a good-looking kid, and looking forward to watching him at the next level. But he's one of those he's just a junior. So we got him again next year. So we'll take a different approach with him, but he is special, and he is a good-looking kid, and not looking forward to that next year.
It is a little different. I mentioned this, that Region 1-6A is doing things a little differently this year. We had been playing 3 games the last couple of years against all these, and basically you had a tiebreaker built in itself. Now you play 2 games on one day.
Yes.
How is that as a staff to come up and say, okay, we got these 2, and then we probably won't see them again for the rest of the year?
Yeah. It just depends on the day. It's a good challenge for us. It gets you ready for if you do get one of the top 4 seeds, you get ready for the playoffs. You're prepared. And with these games down here, it's like a war on Friday night. I mean, it's like our football games down here in South Georgia. These kids, they've known each other their whole lives. They're really getting after it. I enjoy it. It makes it real tough on somebody if they don't have a solid pitching staff, which we do. Fortunately, we've got arms. We're just really developing them and finding out what we got. But we did it before at Clark Central when we had to travel and the crossover effect. We would play a game on Tuesday and then a Friday night doubleheader on our side. So it's something that I've experienced before. Not a huge fan of it, but the kids seem to enjoy it. But come Saturday morning, you play 2 ball games and you're pretty beat up.
And really, there's not much you could have done with Camden and Brunswick coming into the region this year, 2 hours plus away. You can't ask a Camden to come to Tifton on a Tuesday night and play, or Tifton to go to Brunswick or something like that either. So it works out for the best.
It does.
And, of course, after that, last Friday night, you go to Moultrie. You earn a split. It was April the 19th, 2009 was the last time that a Tift County team had beaten a Colquitt County team. And we go over there and steal game 1, 10-5. I think it shocked a lot of the Moultrie crowd.
It did. And we, as a staff, knew we could go over there and compete. We know that Colquitt was very solid. We scouted them, and Coach Kirkland year in, year out does a great job. We knew that we'd see McCarty game 1. And he's special. He's going to Vanderbilt with his ambidextrous switching right and left depending on the hitters. But the kids took it as a challenge upon them. We got out fast, and we were able to hold on. And Bullard, he pitched probably the best that they've seen all year. He held them down. Nobody, I think, has held their offense down. Even Robert Tyler at Chris had some struggles with them, but Bullard was able to change speeds, locate, and he just bear down, and it was a good one for us just to get off the snide there.
McCarty seemed to be a little bit off with his left-handed delivery.
He did.
He walked some batters. Were you guys focusing on that first pitch fastball from the right side? 3 home runs, first pitch, whammo.
We have a certain approach with guys with a situation, and I think what got McCarty off was we go right, left, our first 4 hitters, and then we got another one mixed in down the bottom, and he could never get comfortable. In all fairness to him. So he would get something going right-handed, then have to flip it left-handed. So it kind of maybe worked against him there. But the kid's still really special. He had good stuff. And our kids just got there, looked something flat early and attacked it. And that's our mentality, to be aggressive early in the count. And we was able to square some balls up and it was fun to see.
He's fun to watch, isn't he?
He is.
Have you seen that before out of a high school pitcher?
I have not. I saw a kid at Harvard probably about 5 years ago that could do it, but he wouldn't do it during the game. He would throw right-handed, then the next day throw left-handed. Mm-hmm. So it was pretty special, and everybody had been telling me about it. So I got a good view of it. It was pretty amazing.
All right, so realistically, Tony Kirkland, if you're in his shoes, is there ever a chance that you say, "Hey, we'll throw you game one right-handed, game two left-handed"?
You could. I mean, you get 10 innings a week that a high school kid can pitch, so he could throw 7 right-handed, and he could start game 2 and go 3 left-handed. So
give him a shot. I would. I'd ride him. He's a good horse.
He's very special. I graduated with a guy at Monroe who, when we got in the playoffs, he pitched 10 innings. He pitched all of game 1, 7, and then he'd start game 3 and get us rolling and wait for our offense to go, and then we'd piece it together from there. So he's got that opportunity.
You got a bunch of hits off of him. I think he gave up 11 hits, 6 earned runs, 10 total. Game 2, not the same, though. They brought in Cole Bryant, who did a really nice job. 4 hit. I had to shut out till the very end. I think we scored one in the 7th.
Yeah. Cole did a great job changing speeds, keeping us off balance, and I take game 2 on me. We probably were a little too satisfied. Heard too many maybe attaboys and got some pats on the back between game 1 and game 2, which is understandable because it's been a long time since we had beat those guys over there. So and in game 2 was winnable. We were right there. Debonair started out really well. Had a shutout, had a no-hitter going into the 4th. And the Goforth kid, who we had held down most of game 1, who's been carrying them a lot, he hit a 3-run homer, and that kind of let all the air out of the stadium, and we just kind of couldn't bounce back from it. It's really the only game this year that we couldn't mount a charge late or get something going, and I think maybe just a little frustration kicked in, maybe too much adrenaline in game 1 drained them, but we'll do a better job of that this Friday.
Goforth had 3 home runs in a game a couple of weeks ago against Coffee or somebody, I can't remember who it was, and just nailed the baseball against them. And for us to just give up 1, that was pretty good. Yeah. McCarty did his thing. He can swing it as good. And I think he hits both ways. We didn't get to see it, but I think he can hit both ways as well. So just a talented team, talented player. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Right now, they are, with that one loss to the Blue Devils, 1 game behind Lowndes. Lowndes is 6-0. Colquitt at 5-1, and those two match up with each other this Friday night. That ought to be fun, right?
It should be. I'd like to see it, but we got some business we got to take care of.
Absolutely. Coffee at 4-2. They maybe are the surprise. We know they had some talent coming back. New coach that came from Florida State, Coach Schaup, I believe is his name. He's a good coach over there. They've got no region game this week, and then we find ourselves 2 games behind them, but we still have 2 games against them, which is always a good thing. We've got 3 teams that are behind us now, 3 teams left to play. How do you feel about it going into the final 3 series of the year?
We feel good. I mean, as we talked about earlier about the start against the teams we had to play, I mean, there's no team that's going to roll over for you in Region 1 6A. Valdosta always plays Tifton tough traditionally, cost them a 2 seed, I think, maybe last year. Coach Schumann does a great job with his guys. He always has. Brunswick's the newcomer to the region. They're going to be tough. They've got a guy who's a region pitcher of the week that can throw it, and then Coffee, we've got to go down there. So we want to take care of business the next 2 weeks if we're blessed enough to do that, because you don't want to go to Douglas trying to win 2 to get in. So if we can take care of business the next 2 weeks, take care of the baseball, play Blue Devil baseball like we've talked about, then I think we'll be in good shape, but it's going to be tough.
We find ourselves in the 4 seed right now, but like Coach Kirk said, we can really control our own destiny because Coffee still has to play one of the 2 big hitters at the top. And so if we can win those 2 games against Coffee, we can do what we need to do against Brunswick and Valdosta, who come in winless, then we should be in pretty good shape.
We can really compete for that 2 spot with Colquitt. I think not Valdosta, Lowndes, they may have sprinted out quick, and it's going to be hard to catch those guys where they swing the bat. But it's baseball. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, Lowndes can win the Region 1 championship by winning 3 of their final 4 games. They've got Brunswick and Camden left on their schedule after the Moultrie series, or 2 of their next 4 with a Colquitt or a Coffee loss. So they're definitely in that driver's seat. But Tift County can control their own destiny. And, Coach, we'll talk a little bit later on about what region we match up against. But it's not a favorable draw for either one of these teams. Their 4 seeds is going to give our region champion a heck of a battle, no doubt about that. We got Valdosta this Friday night. You talked about how tough they always play. It's costed us really a home game in the playoffs last year. Bart Schumann does a fabulous job with his young team.
He does, and he has a young team, and what we've seen of them is that, they play with a nothing to lose mentality. We saw them play Cook, and we've seen them play a couple other teams. They will, if they're behind in the count, they won't give in. They're still throwing off speed pitches. They're developing as an offense. They've got some players. Pasas is very good, and has his son, I think, behind the plate that's playing really well. So they're going to really be a challenge for us. We've got to play good baseball. We can't just come in and throw our gloves out and expect to get a win.
Absolutely. That series starts on Friday at 4:30 p.m. Before we let you go, we got to talk about that big non-region win on Tuesday night against Berry, and you guys came out, swung the sticks well, 13-3 victors over the Rebels, who have a really good squad. Doug Nix.
Coach Nix has done a great job with those guys here. It took Lowndes 9 innings to beat them early in the year, and they run Rule Cook a couple weeks ago. We saw his number 2 yesterday against us, and we were able to start fast, which is always a plus for us. And then to credit them, they had some distractions this week with a tornado coming through and doing some damage to their field and stuff like that. But their kids come out and they competed, and it was just good for us to get some guys that we haven't got a lot of reps in, like Jonah Reyes was able to go and catch a little bit for us, and Blake Walker in the outfield, and get them some at-bats and get some guys on the mound like Benson who haven't thrown a lot. And we brought in a freshman up, Connor Thomas, last night, who threw really well. He's been doing great things with the JV. So it was good to get him some innings, but everything worked out according to plan yesterday, so we're very blessed.
Good to see. Coach, before we let you go, there's a ways that people can get in contact with you guys. You guys have a Facebook page that's been in operation since the season started. You can find all your scores on there. Tell folks how they can get in contact with you guys.
You can contact we have Facebook, of course, Tiff County Blue Devil Baseball. Our website should be up and running in a couple of weeks. Coach Williams' dad is working on that fervently for us, and it should be up here pretty soon. You can always contact me at Charles Spencer Elementary or through county email at kyle.kirk@tiffschools.com, and there's a number of ways to help us out that way.
Awesome. Well, Coach, we're looking forward to an exciting conclusion to the baseball season, but we hope it lasts until early June.
Oh, yeah.
That would be nice. Well, we appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for joining us as well. We'll be back again next week with the Kyle Kirk Show on Plant Broadcasting.